we're definitely seeing a rebound of travel in India. Obviously, we're still in the pandemic. As pandemic is receding, we're definitely seeing some very strong trends. So if I were to talk about travel to international locations on Airbnb by Indian users, we've seen almost a growth of 2x if I were to compare Q1 2022 versus Q1 2023. So a lot of people have been traveling overseas and using Airbnb as travel restrictions have eased and border controls have eased. What we've also seen is if I were to compare pre-pandemic era as well as some of the numbers here, nights in India grew by almost 70%. And if I were to just talk about domestically, people traveling within India, that number grew by almost 110% if I were to compare 2022 versus pre-pandemic. So very strong signs of a lot of pent-up demand. Long-term stays on our platform increase significantly. And long-term stays is something that we define as stays of more than 30 days or more. And so definitely we are seeing a lot more use cases for Airbnb, and we definitely see more growth across all segments of our business.
So when we talk about consumer behavior, not just post-pandemic, but in general, you're covering the entire Southeast Asia, right? So how does the consumer behavior by the Indian travelers compare as compared to the other travelers in Southeast Asia?
I think one thing is very common across India or Southeast Asia, and I'll talk more from a hosting perspective first. There is very warm hospitality on offer across Southeast Asian countries as well as India, right? And what a lot of people today are looking for are unique and authentic experiences. And what we have seen is that they come to Airbnb to find these unique stays.
Gen Zs and millennials are the most frequent travelers when we talk about the Indian traveling population, right? So for them, options like the hostel or the hostler also remain as very important options that they can explore. So how does that stand as competition for Airbnb?
I think we won't talk about competition, but what we are seeing is that travel is generally led by millennials and Gen Z, as you rightly mentioned. And what we have seen is that one specific trait, which is that Gen Z and millennials love experiential travel more. And so if you were to give $100 to someone in that age segment, they're more likely to spend it on an experience rather than on a product or a service.
Farm stays remains the most used by Indians, right? And then there are cabins that you gave your example about, right? So what other features do you plan to onboard on the platform, on Airbnb, that you think Indians would most likely be using?
We recently announced the most extensive upgrade to our service, in our summer release. In fact, we went back to the drawing board and understood some of the pain points as well as challenges throughout our host and guest journey. And based on the feedback from the community, we announced almost 50 plus upgrades to our platform. And some of these are on the hosting side, which makes it easier for our hosts to open up their homes, whether they're primary homes or secondary homes, price it comparatively, and also, see what others are doing in their neighborhood. We are definitely seeing, very positive momentum. I would not get into specific details of numbers given that we are a public company, but just from a Q1 perspective, if I look at it, international travel is almost 2x as compared to last year, and we see similar trends across our domestic and inbound businesses. So our focus right now is to make sure that we make it easier for our community to host, as well as create tools and services that makes it easy for them to host or choose authentic places to stay on.